10 Worst Cities for Blacks in America. While America keeps campaigning against racism, some metropolitan areas still use race as a determinant of socioeconomic reckoning among residents. In many cases, perpetrators or promoters or hostilities against the black people are not brought to book. That's why black people or African Americans are not made to feel at home in some cities. What are the worst cities in America for black people in particular? According to the Constitution of Conventions, any racism inclination is illegal in the country. Yet it remains a struggle for Americans in some cities to embrace the new way of thinking and confine racism to history. It manifests in every stratum of society. Here are the worst cities in America for black people. Number 10. Benton Harbor, Michigan. Ironically, Benton Harbor is a predominantly black community in Michigan, maybe because it's a low-income area. Located in southwestern Michigan, some 100 miles from Chicago, the situation here is different in some ways. We find Benton Harbor as the only metro area in Michigan on authentic lists as the worst places for black Americans. Is the most segregated city in the U.S., and this segregation along race lines can deepen already widening socioeconomic gaps between whites and blacks. About half of all blacks living in metro area in Benton Harbor live mainly in black neighborhoods, more than twice the national share. The median income for black people is $22,985, about 44.2% of whites'. The unemployment rate among black people is 17.4%, while it's only 6.2% among white. The homeownership rate is 34.6% for black people, while 76.8% of white own homes. Number 9. Rochester, New York. Another one of the worst cities in America for African Americans is Rochester in New York. There are about 83,449 black people here, making 39.83% of the population. The black median yearly income is $28,681, 48.7% of the white income of $58,885. The unemployment rate is 16.3% for black people and 5.4% for white. While 73.9% of whites own their homes, the homeownership rate among black people is only 32.3%. According to a recent report by the Civil Rights Project sponsored by the University of California, Los Angeles, there's still segregation in schools in Rochester metro area. This is caused by the relocation of white families to the suburbs. This segregation of schools causes economic and social inequality. For instance, only 78.8% of black adults in Rochester have a high school diploma, whereas the rate is 93.1% among white adults. Number 8. Decatur, Illinois. There are several metro areas in Illinois where black Americans aren't faring well. Decatur is one of them. There are over 17,000 black people in Decatur. They make about 20% of the population. Black Decatur residents are likely to be poorer than their counterparts. Why? Black people are educationally discriminated against. Only 77.6% of black adults in the city have a high school diploma, which is far less than the 91.8% of white adults with it. The median income among them is less than half of the whites. Blacks earn $24,000 on average, which is about 45% of the whites. While the unemployment rate among them is 21.7%, almost triple that of the whites, who only have 7.4% unemployed. Over 75% of whites own their home, while only 36.4% of the blacks have. Number 7. Elmira, New York. Out of some 29,000 residents in the area, only about 4,000 residents of Elmira, representing just about 14%, are black. They're a relatively small population given the fact that about 14% of the U.S. population is black, but the socioeconomic gaps between whites and blacks in Elmira are among the largest in America, making it one of the worst cities in America for black people. They earn only $21,767 a year as median income, which is about 42.6% of $51,101 a year white income. The unemployment rate among blacks is 15.9%, while only 5% of the whites are unemployed. As low as 22.4% of blacks own homes, while 71.7% of whites have their homes. Number 6. Danville, Illinois. Another Illinois city among the worst cities in America for black people is Danville. The 10,222 black people in the city make just about 32.71% of the population. When a typical black household earns $22,419 as the yearly income, a white counterpart earns $49,592, about 52.1% of white income. According to recent census figures, though 22.5% of blacks are jobless, while only 8.1% of whites are unemployed. When only 29.5% of blacks own their homes, 75.2% of whites do. It is not difficult to see why the reason for the large disparities in income and homeownership rate here. The high unemployment rate in Danville among black workers in the area is taking a serious toll. This is the 6th largest rate in any of the U.S. metro areas. The gaps in education, health, and income between white and black people are widest in Danville and its neighbors in Illinois. Number 5. Peoria, Illinois. We are still in Illinois to locate another one of the worst cities in America for black people. We now want to focus on Peoria, the county seat of Peoria County, central Illinois on the Illinois River. The black population in Peoria is 30,292, which is about 27% of the total. The average black household earns $27,085 a year, which is 45.6% of white income. While only 5.6% of whites are unemployed, 17.9% of blacks do not hold a job. Only 31.4% of blacks can afford their homes, while 76.1% of whites can. It is certainly one of the worst cities in America for African Americans. Number 4. Minneapolis-St. Paul, Minnesota. Minnesota is our next point of call, where we would see the next one of the worst cities of America for black people. Minneapolis-St. Paul is our focus. As many as 313,000 black people are in these two cities, forming just about 8.6% of the population. The median yearly income among black people is $31,653, which is 41.5% of the whites. Blacks also suffer from discrimination in terms of unemployment, as 12.3% of them are unemployed, while the rate among the whites is 3.9%. And without a stable job, how easy can it be to own a home? Thus, the homeownership rate is a poor 24.6% for black and a huge 75.8% for white. Number 3. Racine, Wisconsin. Still in Wisconsin, we are now in Racine, the home of some 17,825 black people in Racine who form 23.12% of the population. This metro area is one of the worst places in America for black people. While a typical black household earns just $26,888, the annual income for a white family is $63,507, which is less than 42.3% of the white household income. The unemployment rate among blacks here is 16.6% and 6.1% among whites. Consequently, while 77.1% of the white population own their homes, only 31.4% of them can afford a home. Making the matter of racial disparities worse in the metro area is the disproportionate incarceration rates. Records show that blacks are nearly 12 times more likely to be imprisoned than whites. Number 2. Waterloo, Iowa. There is probably no metro area in the U.S. whose social and economic disparities along racial lines are larger than that of Waterloo, Cedar Falls, Iowa. This city is home to 11,105 black population who make up 16.69%. An average black household earns a yearly income of $25,897, which is 46.8% of white income. While only 4.4% of white populations are unemployed, the rate is 23.9% for blacks. This is unacceptably higher than the national black unemployment rate, and is the second highest such figure in the country. The homeownership rate among the black people is 32.8%, while it is 73.2% among whites. Waterloo, like many U.S. cities where high economic and social inequality is sensed, has witnessed several major incidents sparking up racial tension in recent years. Number 1. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Let's finally examine another area of Wisconsin, which is one of the worst cities in America for African Americans. Milwaukee is a populous city with a large black population of 260,776, which forms 38.75% of the total. The median income of black people, which is $27,834, is just 42.5% of white income. While 4.2% of blacks are afflicted with unemployment, some 16.1% of black people are unemployed. And as usual, the home ownership rate among black people is 28.2%, while it's 69.5% among white people. Milwaukee, like Midwestern cities with a similar history, still struggles with the effects of discriminatory housing policies of the mid-20th century. In Milwaukee and the entire state of Wisconsin, black Americans are nearly 11 times more likely to be incarcerated than whites. In your opinion, what are the worst cities in America for African Americans? Please let us know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe, comment, and turn on the notification bell.